Hi, I'm Allan,
And I'm Russell,
and this is Popculture Pontification.
the show where we talk about movies and comics and TV and all that sort of stuff. And we're actually going to talk about comics this time.
Yes, shock and surprise, my long, hard-fought campaign, years of blood, sweat, and ink. Russell has finally started reading comic books.
Hooray!
Hooray, yes, another one. I was about to say another one bites the dust. That doesn't make any sense.
all you really have to do with these campaigns is just plant the seed and then wait. There's no point, trying to push me into
You
it.
got a long gestation period.
That's
though.
right, yeah. And then eventually it'll feel like my own idea.
You're like, oh, what a marvelous idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Russell. You're welcome, Russell. Then you'll start doing it.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to jump straight into that then?
No, let's go through a few quick things first of all.
You got
Because I got a bit
you
of
got
Marvel
business,
chat to
got
do.
business to take care of.
Yeah.
You're leaving us. You're moving to America.
I am. No, I'm not moving. I'm going on holiday there.
You are going on holiday.
But not till later next year.
Okay.
Um,
Behind the scenes stuff here. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about a movie I watched yesterday called It Follows.
It Follows.
Yeah.
Is
It's,
it entirely a movie about stalkers?
kind of.
Oh, what a guess.
It's a horror movie.
About stalkers.
Kind of. It's a horror movie. Came out this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise is not that unusual.
Again with the premise. It's premise. I hate you when you say
The
that.
premise
Ah!
is this young lady sleeps with her boyfriend for the first time.
What a slut.
And then she discovers, he tells her actually, that a curse has been passed on to her through their intercourse.
What a dick.
Yeah. And now there is some sort of being that is trying to kill her. And all it can do is walk slowly towards her. But when it reaches her, it will kill her. And if it's finished with her, it'll go back to him. So it's in his best interests for her to survive and pass it on to somebody else the same way.
This sounds like a stupid premise. Just get on a plane, go to another country.
No, but
It'll
it will
take
follow
like-
you.
Yeah, but it'll take 20 years to walk there.
No, it won't.
Do you have any idea how long it takes to walk from one side of the world to the other?
Yeah, it would take a while. But eventually, it's going to catch up
But
with you.
guess what? You do the math, you figure out when it gets there. As soon as it's about to get to you, hop on the plane, go back to where you started.
This was a thought that occurred to me. She has to escape, and nobody else can see it except for her and anybody else who has been afflicted with this curse. And it's really quite menacing, just seeing people in the distance walking towards her, not knowing whether they're just happen to be walking in that direction or whether they're a
Can it fly?
demonic monster. No, it just walks
Hot air balloon.
forever.
Just stay in a hot air balloon forever.
It seems impractical.
So basically the entire movie is just a thinly veiled metaphor for sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah, basically. But it's really well filmed. There's all these slow pans that are quite menacing and slow zooms, and there's a kind of 80s synth soundtrack that's really menacing.
You love movies that have got 80s synth music.
I love 80s synth
You do
music.
love 80s synth
Yeah,
music.
it's great. But it's got really low bassy sounds, and you can always sort of tell when the monster or the demon or whatever it is around because it has its own
It's got its own themes music.
But the theme music is just a low tone, basically.
Right.
Yeah. It was really well done. I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Did, she die?
I'm not
I
going
mean,
to
it's not...
spoil the
Okay,
ending.
well, do they defeat the monster? Is this what, are we looking at It Followed, the sequel?
I'm not going to spoil the ending.
And Following, the prequel?
the following cinematic universe.
Following, yeah.
No, I'm not going to
spoil
the ending.
Your insistence on not spoiling movies and then leaving me in the dark about what happens in a movie I'm never going to see, notwithstanding,
Yes.
what would you rate it?
It was pretty good. I guess it would be a 7 out of 10. They did an awful lot of spooky kind of stuff.
Any
really,
jump scares?
No, there was no jump scares, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because this thing is... All it does is slowly move towards you. It doesn't, hide and jump out from behind things or anything. But it managed to be really creepy with, a tiny budget. And no, name actors or anything.
So no name actors?
Yeah, basically. No name actors, just no name actors.
Yes, correct.
It was well worth a look.
When did it come out? Just recently?
This year or the year before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you obtained a copy legally?
Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, yeah, of course I did. It's on Netflix. Go and watch it on Netflix.
You were like so... It's like, Alan, I don't want to say that I got a legal copy of this. Yeah, there's some weird, like... Was it made for Netflix?
No, I had a cinematic release in America, I think.
Because there's so many weird made-for-Netflix movies out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have Netflix anymore, but when I did, it was like, what? This is a fucking weird movie.
They built up their catalogue since then, but they still have all these like direct-to-video, junky action sci-fi movies.
Which is not the worst thing in the world.
No, sometimes that's what you want.
You and I both love low-budget sci-fi movies.
Yeah, especially ones about giant snakes.
And no, that's different.
And starring David Hasselhoff.
Okay, yes. The one starring David Hasselhoff, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else have you been doing, other than watching venereal disease PSA?
Well, I also got onto a YouTube series titled Every Frame a Painting. And
yes.
it's like you
told me about this.
A training manual to become a film wanker.
Yeah. As judged by the brief review you just gave them, it was like, there's a lot of really good long pans.
Yeah. It's great. It feels so smug talking like that.
The look on your face when you're like, yeah, long pans. Oh, yeah. That's right. Film term.
But it's really entertaining to watch. He uses examples from famous films and he picks whatever subjects interest him. So he did a whole episode about Jackie Chan and one about Michael Bay. And
was the episode with Jackie Chan all about how they, filmography-wise, included the ladder he was beating a guy to death with in the scene?
Yeah, well, it's like how he mentions how Jackie Chan's hits, they don't cut away, like often in Hollywood movies.
This is something I'm aware
of. As somebody swings a big kick or a big punch or whatever.
They never show the connect.
No, and it will cut at the moment of impact, and then the person's fist or foot will be pulling back. But they've never actually
It really
connected.
Takes away from the force of the impact.
Yeah.
It makes it feels like it didn't hit.
Yeah.
Like it didn't do any damage.
Yeah.
Which is what was a big problem for me in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was actually the example they used. The fight between Gamora and
it just looked like they were just flailing at each other
because
they didn't show like the follow-through connection. Maybe I've seen this video.
Maybe you have.
Because I distinctly remember...
This comparison.
Not that comparison, maybe. Just maybe a similar video where they were talking about how they film like martial arts movies.
Yeah.
And the way they show the impact is that they'll go in for the big swing and then they'll cut to the close-up and show you actually hitting the guy.
Yeah.
And that impact, conveys, it's an impact that did damage, And when they want to show, it didn't really hurt, they won't show the impact.
Yeah.
And that'll be like, it wasn't such a good hit as the other one.
Yeah, and he mentions when they do that second impact shot, they will rewind it a bit. So you see them going in and then hitting the guy. And then when they cut to the next shot, the fist is back and chambered, and then they show the hit again in close, which lets your mind catch up after the cut.
For viewers, the past 30 seconds have just been me and Russell throwing fake punches.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, no, that's something I'm aware of actually, as a film wankery term. I don't know what the official terminology for it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch.
It's like the early Hulk movies also suffered from this. The one with, was it Edward Norton?
There was the one before that with Eric Bana.
Yeah, no, the one I'm talking about was with Edward Norton.
Yeah.
And the fight between the Hulk and Abomination.
Okay.
Which is the other big scary monster.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were just flailing and slapping at each other because they didn't show proper impacts and stuff like that. Whereas comparison-wise, the fight between Thor and the Hulk in the helicarrier in Avengers, it looked like they were really kicking the shit out of each other because they actually showed the Hulk fucking slamming his fist into Thor's face and stuff like that. So.
And that strikes me as weird because when you have two actors punching each other, you can understand wanting to not impact because you could actually hurt somebody. But if you got CG monsters punching each other, there's no reason not to
I don't think that it's just such a well-known thing. Like the way martial arts movies have been filming fight scenes for 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And CG
so you have to be properly
scenes,
trained to do
CG
that.
Fight scenes have only been around for 15 years or something like that, so maybe they just don't know how to do it.
Some people know how to do it.
They should just get Jackie Chan in as a consultant on every martial arts fighting thing.
Jackie Chan's one of my favourite people.
Apparently, he's not. He's like his persona in English-speaking countries versus his like public image in his own country is vastly different.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I was reading on Reddit.
I know he is popular in Asian countries.
He is, but he's also like he's not as well liked.
Yeah.
He's got a very conservative stance and stuff like that.
Oh, like political.
He's got weird political leanings. I don't know the details of it, so I'm not going to try and possibly explain it. But everybody's like, over there, he's just like, in America and stuff, English-speaking countries, he's like, oh, he's Jackie Chan, he's a nice guy,
Yeah.
But in his own country, people are like against him. He's like invested in politics and all sorts of stuff, and everybody's just like, half the people are like, what a cunt.
It was like a couple of years ago, it was some political event, like the Republican Party in America, and they trotted out Clint Eastwood to talk about like gun rights or something, and I'm like, Clint, I like you. Don't do this.
I don't want to know your personal stance on abortion.
Yeah, I just want to see you like fighting people in movies.
Telling people to get off your lawn.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to separate the actor from the person, I suppose. The character from the actor is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Will Smith is pretty good at that. Like, quite often in interviews, he'll get asked for, like, what's his political opinion on this or his religious stance on that, and he just doesn't. He's like, no.
Shut your mouth.
No. Welcome to Earth. And then he punches them, and then nobody else asks any more questions.
Actually, we rewatched Star Wars this morning, actually.
Yes. One of Will Smith's most famous movies.
Well, John Boyega reminded me so much of a young Will Smith from, like, Independence Day and, and Men in Black and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of his dialogue seemed like...
I think it's the comedic timing was similar to Will Smith's, maybe.
It could be.
It was like, we gotta get off the ship. This is the right thing to do. Yeah. Need a pilot? I need a pilot. Yeah, I need a pilot. It's a very Will Smith sort of back and forth.
Yeah. Anyway, that just twigged in my brain when you mentioned Will Smith.
Mm. Or you're just horribly racist and you just think the two black guys are the same. Yeah.
There's a lot of Morgan Freeman in his performance as well. So.
Mostly in his voice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Morgan Freeman, I saw him in Ted 2, which I watched the other day. It was a terrible movie. But I'd seen the first one, so I was like, I'm going to watch the second one. I was bored. I had nothing else to do. I had lots of stuff to do. Just chose not to do it.
You were procrastinating. So.
I was, yes. As Ted 2. And it is, like, the first one got a lot of flack for being, like, Family Guy the movie. And the second one is vastly more so.
Okay.
There's, like, cutaways where they're like, I've done some stuff I'm not proud of in order to raise money. And then it cuts scene to, like, Ted being a prostitute on a street corner.
Right.
It's like, dick sucking, no teeth, suck your dick, $3. Then it cuts back to everybody, and everybody's just like, okay, that's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And there's just so many little cutaways where they would, like, do a Family Guy skit.
Yeah.
And it's basically Family Guy in the movie.
I feel like Morgan Freeman could be a bit more picky.
About his movie choices?
Yeah. Like, he's very old.
He is very old.
And he has been in a lot of extremely successful and critically acclaimed and commercially successful.
He's been in a lot of crappy movies too, though.
Yeah, but I don't know why he wouldn't just skip those ones.
Maybe he just likes acting. Or maybe he just likes money.
Maybe, but surely he has a lot of money. He was in all the Batman movies, for God's sake.
He wasn't exactly, like, one of the main actors, though.
He was pretty important.
I guess so. I don't know what sort of cash payout he got for those movies, but...
It would have to be, like, millions of dollars.
Surely. Do you think, like, him and Samuel L. Jackson have a competition going to see who can be in more movies?
I don't know. Possibly.
Possibly. We can only assume yes.
Yes.
That is exactly what's going on.
That is a factual statement. So Ted 2, not good?
Ted 2 good for what it is. If you want to see people smoking weed and acting like dicks. If you want Family Guy the movie, then watch Ted 2.
Right. Not Family Guy the movie.
Not Family Guy the movie.
Okay. Was it better than The Night Before? Or worse than The Night Before?
Was it better than what... Oh, jeez. I'd say The Night Before was way better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because it had an actual plot line. And it wasn't just, how quickly can we get to the next dick reference?
Right, okay.
You know? Like, at one point, they go into a sperm bank in Ted 2.
Yeah.
Because Ted obviously wants to have a child. And he can't because he's a teddy bear. So he's getting, like, somebody donating sperm. And I was like, as soon as they mentioned I was like, there's only a matter of time until
somebody gets like drenched in semen.
somebody gets drenched in semen. Somebody like goes into the storage area where all the semen is and knocks all the semen over onto someone else. And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, somebody was covered in semen.
Right. Was it Mark Wahlberg?
I don't know who that is. The main guy? The
main guy, yeah.
Okay, yes. Yeah. That was him. Got covered in semen.
Yes, well, I might give that one a miss.
I would recommend it.
Are you ready to talk about comics?
I think you are.
Yeah.
I think you're very eager to talk about comics. Yes. Tell me. Oh, Russell. I've waited years for this. Never did I think that another man would say those words to me.
Really?
No.
Okay.
But just, come on. You've got like a huge list of notes there.
Oh, no. It's just a few titles.
Okay.
But the reason this has all come about is because I finally got the Marvel Unlimited app working on my iPad. Which was a huge pain to do.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was curious, so I downloaded it onto my phone and just signed in, and then the problem was over.
Well, you already had an account, which turned out to be the problem.
Yeah.
You can't seem to create an account from within the app, and I had tried like half a dozen times, and I was worried that they were just like harvesting my email addresses and stuff.
My account came from a different Marvel app, though.
Yeah.
Yes, just Marvel Comics, not Marvel Unlimited, so maybe that was the key to it.
I ended up going on the website and signing up for a Marvel account. And getting a free month of Marvel Unlimited, which is like Spotify or any of those sort of subscription services.
But you download the comic books onto your device.
You can do.
Yes. Could you just spend the entire month doing nothing but downloading the comic books onto your device, then have like 6 years worth of comic books?
I feel like they would cut you off if you didn't pay for the subscription.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not going to test
it is Marvel Unlimited. So
it's true.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, how much is it a month, out of curiosity?
I think it's $10 a month, or there's a yearly discounted subscription, like $60 or $70. And you get all the Marvel comics up to about 6 months ago.
Yes, also older ones, but I think they're still in the process of digitizing the older ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're the kind of person who wants to keep up with comics, well...
Vastly cheaper.
Yes.
Seeing as how 1 month of this is equal to
like
three comic books. Yeah.
That's what put me off comic books in the first place. Like,
they're very cost prohibitive, yes.
Yeah, you get one comic book and you get like 20 pages of entertainment. And then the next one's like another $4 or $5.
Yes. Which is why I traditionally, I've got long boxes full of fucking comic books. I fell into that trap of I'll just read one comic book series, and then that crosses over to another one. It's like, oh, that looks interesting, I'll start that. And then eventually I just had like hundreds of dollars worth of comic books. Probably not that bad. I probably ended up dropping like $50 a month on comic books, and then I was like, I gotta stop doing this. It's just too cost prohibitive. Which is why now I only buy, like, I don't want to sound like a wanker, sort of like non-traditional comic books. Like non-Marvel, non-DC.
Okay.
More like, more of the sort of indie stuff.
Indie stuff?
Yeah. So I feel like I'm actually supporting someone who's making comics.
Right.
You know, whereas the rest of them I just read them as they come into my view.
Yeah. Speaking of being led into crossovers and things like that, one of the comics I did read was the Wolverine series that started in 2010.
Called?
It was just called Wolverine.
Fair enough.
But the opening art was called Wolverine Goes to Hell or something like that. And every time you got to the end of the book, the final page, they'd have like letters, and then they would have...
It's pretty traditional. Yeah.
What else is going on in Wolverine? And then there was like one about Wolverine's son, and one about a clone of Wolverine, and one about the X-Men featuring Wolverine.
When you say the clone of Wolverine, do you mean X-23?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you were trying to keep up with Wolverine, you'd have to buy like 4 or 5 comics a month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's one of the most popular Marvel characters. Of course he's in everything.
Yeah.
He's in Avengers, New Avengers, East Coast Avengers he's been in.
How does he get around?
Various X-Men, actual X-Men, like X-Men, Ultimate X-Men. Oh, then there's the Ultimate Universe, whereas in Ultimate Avengers, you've got like just X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Amazing X-Men.
And they've all got Wolverine?
And most of them have Wolverine.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I did not enjoy the Wolverine comic, by the way. I'm going to get into various things that I've been reading.
Fair enough.
But he's so emo.
He is. Yeah, that's his
He's
main
like,
character trait.
I've killed
is that
so many people.
He's like
I'm such an asshole.
Yeah, he's world weary, I suppose, is the point that people try to get across with his character. But he's very one-dimensional.
Yeah. You can be quietly world weary.
Yes. You don't have to keep going on about
Yeah.
Wolverine. Jesus. If he gets behind a good writer, then he's very interesting to read.
Yeah.
You know, because then it's all about him, like, hunting someone.
Yeah.
And it's all about all that sort of stuff. Recommend Wolverine Origins.
Okay.
Which is
well, not the movie.
No. Comic book.
Okay.
That's very well written.
Alright.
Yes.
Is that old or new or?
It's not current.
Yeah.
Because obviously the movie was based loosely upon it. The
right.
abortion of the movie. But no, the comic book is very good.
Okay.
And there's also, if you really hate him, there's one series of comic books called Wolverine Dies.
Yeah, there's like
the
a
death of Wolverine.
comic event, The Death of Wolverine. That's one good thing in this app. There's lots of good things about it, despite the difficulty I had getting started.
It's a real. They really make you work for it.
Yeah.
To get in, and then they give you all the goods.
But they have various tabs, and there's comics you've read, and then there's browse, and you can go through different series. And then there's...
You can browse by character. Like, I opened the app up, and I was like, I recommended a character to you because you were looking for sort of like swords and sorcery.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the guy.
Kazar,
yes. And I was like, oh, I wonder, actually, have I, like, led Russell down, you know, the garden path here?
Yeah.
So I was like, went to the thing, it was like all alphabetical. I was like, oh, okay. And I skimmed down to K. There it was, K. Yeah, I clicked on him, and it was like, oh, these comic books are there. I was like, oh, this is very intuitive.
One other thing they do have is the Discover tab, which groups things into different, like they have a character in focus. Mm-hmm. And so, because Jessica Jones, the TV show's come out, you can go and look at Jessica Jones and it suggests different comics.
Hasn't been in a huge amount of comic books, Jessica Jones, unfortunately.
I haven't looked into that yet.
Okay.
But they have other things like the big events, like Civil War and whatever else they have.
Invasion and Fear Itself and
keep
going.
Age of Apocalypse.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
And then when you go in there, it has them all in suggested reading order.
Mm-hmm.
Across all the different series that...
Yeah. Rise of the Hulks, Fall of the Hulks, World War Hulk.
Rise of the Fall of the Hulk
Rise
War.
of the Hulk War.
Yeah. On the planet of the Hulks.
There is a planet Hulk.
Yeah. So that's been very handy to sort of get my bearings.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have been doing, because I'm still playing Marvel Puzzle Quest...
Your obsession with it, notwithstanding, yes. Which is what probably made you start wanting to read comic books. So
basically.
Well marketed on their part.
Well done, Marvel, well done.
It's almost like you're an enormous corporation backed by Disney.
Basically. One of their tabs is Marvel Puzzle Quest, because in the game you collect comic covers, which represent your characters and their abilities. And when you go into this tab in the app, it has all of those covers
the ones
that you would have collected in the game.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I
thought if they could like link them together. So like, if you play enough on the app, Marvel, the puzzle app, that you unlock a cover or whatever, then you get to read that comic book in the app for free.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
It would be pretty good.
Yeah. Get on it, Marvel.
But the characters that you use in the game, you get attached to them, even though they have barely any character to them.
Yeah, they don't do anything. They just sort of stand there, to my knowledge.
They have special powers, but they're like shoot lightning or whatever. They're not. There's no great depth to it. But the cover art's really nice. And then when you go into the app, you can go and read that particular comic that you've been using in the game. And the one I got onto was Thor, God of Thunder.
Yes.
Which was really good.
Yeah, Thor's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's had some crap out there, but for the most part,
this particular one I was reading was good. Then it led on to a series just called Thor, which was where Thor became a lady. And that was still good. And then after that was something called Thor's, which is part of Battle World or something. Everybody is Thor. And they're like cops. It's like a hard-bitten cop drama, but everybody's Thor. That was just bizarre. I did not enjoy that.
There is also a flip side to that where everybody become Hulks.
Really?
Yeah, like Thor becomes a Hulk, Captain America becomes a Hulk, everybody becomes a Hulk.
Everybody
becomes a Hulk.
Even like Professor X?
Maybe. I never read it. But yeah, Thor turns into a Hulk, so he's just this big like hulking ball of lightning, basically. Just goes around punching dudes.
Nice. Other ones I have read, the Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is Marvel's Batman, basically.
Yeah. Yep. I always thought he was a stupid character.
Yeah, I mentioned him in the past and you just laughed at me.
Yeah, but Warren Ellis, a comic writer who did Transmetropolitan and some other things.
Yeah, I've read that.
He had a run on Moon Knight, which was pretty cool.
He's a very gritty character. He doesn't mind killing people.
Yeah, he's like Batman, but grumpier.
Yes,
yeah.
And insane.
Yeah. And there was one particular issue, I think it was called Sniper, and it started, the first page was like 8 equal panels, and it was just 8 different people going about their day, except one of them got shot in the head. The next page was the same 8 panels, except that one was whited out, and the other stories continued, but another person got shot in the head. And then by the end of the 8 pages, everybody had been killed by this sniper. And it was just a white page, and it had like the thoughts of the sniper on it, which is a pretty cool device to open the story.
Yeah, there's a lot of you gotta sort of look for them, but every now and then somebody does something that's really interesting like that. Then you'd be like, oh, this is why I read comic books.
Yeah. As opposed to just normal books.
Yes.
But the last one I got onto yesterday, I think I started, was Marvel 1602. I don't know if you've read it.
I've heard of it, I've never read it. It's like, obviously, it's like medieval Marvel.
Yeah, well, it's set in 1602.
Yeah, this is where you finally found your swords and sorcery,
yes,
Marvel.
History! It's very loosely based on history. It's like Queen Elizabeth and the Spanish Inquisition and that kind of stuff.
Spider-Man there?
Yes. Well,
Spider-Man, medieval Spider-Man is something that's been around in the past.
Oh, he hasn't become Spider-Man. It actually was quite amusing because there's Sir Nicholas Fury, who's like the Queen's special agent, and his apprentice is a boy named Peter. And the first thing he's introduced, he's sitting in a bar and he sees a spider on the bar. And he's like, oh, look at that spider. It has really strange sparkles on its back or something. And then somebody just like smashes it with a mug. You're not going to be Spider-Man just yet.
Not yet. Not yet. But there is a medieval Spider-Man.
Oh, right.
Yes, where he...
Does he like take people off horses or...
I don't know. But he was mostly around in a video game. Spider-Man video game.
Really?
They played, yeah. Well, he was like a skin that you could pick characters. So I read him up, and I've never read the comics himself, but I know a little bit about him. There is also Spider-Man Noir, where he's like a hard-bitten sort of like detective.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and his power varies. It's not always the same power set. Like his web fluid as Spider-Man Noir is nowhere near as strong.
Okay.
So he can barely use it to restrain people in Spider-Man Noir, which is all. And he's not anywhere near as strong and stuff like that. And then there's like Spider-Man 2099, which is different Spider-Man in the future.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff. There's so many different Spider-Man.
Yeah, and there is in the game as well. There's like 4 different kinds of Spider-Man you can have. I don't quite understand the popularity of Spider-Man because...
he's been around for a long time, basically. He's like sort of the everyman, He's always like struggling, trying to do his best.
Yeah, but
Started
why?
out as a nerd. Everybody likes him like that.
He's got friggin' superpowers. He shouldn't be struggling.
It's, the whole great power, great responsibility sort of thing. Spider-Man's probably got more history than almost any other Marvel guy because there's been so many different Spider-Man and Spider series.
It's a bit overwhelming.
It is very overwhelming. And I've been reading comic books for a long time, and I'm nowhere near an expert on any of the stuff that's in DC Marvel.
Yeah, well, if you do have any recommendations, I'm, as always, all ears.
Yes. Now, we have something else to talk about. Something very important. The Christmas present I got you. God. Yes, the Christmas present I got you. Yep. I brought this up because you told me about it earlier. And my heart is hurt, Russell. I got a hurt heart. Because I gave you a present that took me all of 2 minutes to get. And it was an impulse purchase. And I gave it to you with love in my heart. And why don't you tell what's happened? Huh? It's a week later.
You see, I just treasured it so much that it felt like I would be sullying it with my fingers and my eyes if I was to open and read it. So I just carefully placed it in a...
bin.
in a place of pride atop my dresser where I went after I got home. And... there it has remained.
Completely forgotten.
Yes.
Neglected.
Yes. And until I remembered on the way over here that I was meant to have read.
Well, see, now you have to review both of the books that I gave you next week.
And a forced review?
And a forced review.
Jesus.
This is your burden.
It is. I shall struggle on somehow.
All right. But much more interesting to talk about and much less embarrassing for you is that you have been watching One Punch Man.
Ah, yes, I finished watching One Punch Man.
Yes.
It was really great.
It was really great.
It takes the cliche sort of shonen anime kind of stuff you'd expect, where people are comparing their power levels, and it totally subverts that because One Punch Man is unbeatable. He cannot be defeated.
He wins everything with one punch.
Yeah, he easily destroys any enemy, and he's bored.
Yeah, his whole persona is that he became a hero for a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, and he just became absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know why or how. Because all
his
he does...
training regimen was hilarious.
Like 100 push-ups, 100 jumping jacks, 100 squats, and then run
10 kilometer run. Every day. And
every day. No excuses.
The most powerful man.
The most powerful man in the universe.
Yeah.
But he gets like a apprentice, which is Genos.
Oh yeah, Genos.
Which is Genos, however you pronounce it. Who's a cyborg. Yeah. And who is wants to become as powerful as him so he can get a vengeance upon the cyborg that destroyed his hometown.
Yeah.
And so he's become obsessed with figuring out how to become as powerful as Saitama, who's largely disinterested in everything.
He's mostly concerned about getting a good price on noodles or whatever at the supermarket.
And he just tends to get caught up in various escapades and adventures. But he does finally, in the last episode, discover an opponent whom he does not defeat with one punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets very excited about that. It's like the closest you see him to being even remotely excited in the entire series.
He has to use his ultimate technique.
Yes, he has. Not only does he punch the guy once, he then has to punch him several times. He does like a flurry of punches, which turns the guy into a red mist. And he manages to recoalesce. Yeah. Is it just coalesce or is it recoalesce? Recoalesce seems redundant.
I think it's just coalesce.
Coalesce. Yes. Who then, the fight scene is amazing. Yeah. The final fight scene is amazing.
And the bad guy carries on like a Dragon Ball villain.
He is very Dragon Ball.
I'm trying to find an opponent who can defeat me.
Yeah,
I've killed everybody in the universe.
Yes. On the home world they grew up was torturous, and I, as a mutant on my home world, is far more strong than everybody else. So on and so forth. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z references of that guy. Or Dragon Ball references, if you want to be more specific.
And I do.
You do, yes. It's very Russell to be that specific, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to unleash my ultimate super meteor strike attack!
Yeah.
And Saitama, who's One Punch Man, is just like, alright.
Yeah.
I guess I'll punch. I'll unleash my ultimate attack as well, which
serious punch.
Serious punch instead of normal punch. It just obliterates him.
Yeah. The supporting cast are all pretty cool as well.
Yeah, the heroes are all, the S-class heroes at least, are all very entertaining. Yeah. There's my favourite guy who was at Metal Bat.
Oh, yeah.
just like
a guy with a baseball bat.
Yeah, it's this greaser guy.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's a pompadour.
It's a Japanese trope of like the tough guy with like the greased back hair and stuff like that, wandering around with a baseball bat causing havoc.
Yeah.
But he's a hero, and he goes around and like while the big enormous super boss fight is going on upstairs, like all the other characters are sort of like downstairs below the spaceship fighting a mini boss and stuff like that. You know, which is it's very well written, I find. Yeah.
And they left it hanging because you meet the second rank S-class hero. The telekinetic girl, but you never meet the first.
No,
ranked.
And there's a whole other thing with one of the superheroes that you probably didn't even notice. The guy with like the 3 scars over his eye. One of the S-class heroes. You don't remember him?
Is he the samurai guy?
No, he's not even in the
old guy.
He's not even in the old.
Okay, then
fight scene. No, okay, never. There's I forget his name. Tiger, I think his name was.
Okay.
And spoiler alert. He's actually not a superhero at all. He just keeps showing up when something gets defeated. And so everybody's like, whoa, wow, man, you really did that. He's like, yep, I sure did.
Yeah.
And so he becomes like S rank 3.
Yeah.
And
just by
being around, you know. And he's just bluffing his way through the entire thing. And it's most happened because whenever Saitama was around, destroying a monster, nobody like paid any attention because at that time he wasn't part of the hero group or whatever. Yeah. But like then Tiger would show up and everyone's like, oh man, Tiger really took care of that guy. So, but yeah, they do reference that slightly because they do like an internal monologue of all the S-class heroes while they're sitting around, and you get to him and all you hear is his heart going because he's like freaking out because he's in this high-class group of all these superpowered dudes, and he's just some normal guy who just has cool scars over his eyes. Have you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm fresh out.
No?
Have you not got anything more?
I got some stuff, but it's not really interesting.
Oh.
I watched the 2004 Punisher movie. Thought it was pretty cool. Was going to mention that. It's not that interesting. Not worth talking about.
Is he Marvel?
He is Marvel, yes.
Okay.
Which is why I was going to bring him up.
Does he have any good comics?
He's got quite a few good comics, yeah. There's a Punisher versus the Marvel Universe where all of the... a virus has spread throughout all the superheroes in the Marvel Universe. And sort of like a zombie thing.
Turn them evil?
And turn them, just cannibals and stuff. Like, removes their higher brain functions and stuff like that. And it's all about Punisher, who's immune to it. Going around and like devising ways to kill like the various superpowered dudes who are like controlling vast swaths of Manhattan and stuff like that. Like he's like spent a year trying to figure out how to take down the Thing.
Oh, okay.
Who became some sort of underground mobster boss and he had this harem of all these other superhero and women and stuff like that. And you show him there and he's like got armor piercing rocket launchers and stuff that he used to take down. He just constantly is killing Deadpool. So he'll kill Deadpool and then like burn him to a crisp, but then Deadpool will reform and stuff like that. And then he has to kill him again and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's some good Punisher stuff out there. I would recommend Punisher versus the Marvel Universe.
Okay. Marvel Zombies. What's Marvel Zombies?
Marvel Zombies is a sort of a universe in which one of the most powerful superheroes gets infected with sort of like a zombie virus.
Jubilee?
No, not Jubilee. Shockingly enough, it's the Sentry.
I don't know him.
You don't know him. Yeah, he's like got the power of 1,000 suns.
Right.
Is like his old tagline from Golden Age comic books. He gets infected, and I'm not sure if this is the same universe as the Punisher versus Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. But he gets infected by this thing, which can be inhaled and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And he just comes down to Earth and starts eating people.
Right.
And so all these superheroes, like, come and try and take him down, but he's stronger, and he infects one, who infects another one, and so on and so forth. And then eventually everybody's infected. And it does a crossover with the Ultimate Fantastic Four, where, like, the young Reed Richards there is trying to get in contact with that universe's Reed Richards, and there's a crossover and such. Eventually, like, Galactus comes to Earth, and then like a bunch of heroes kill Galactus and eat him, gaining like the power cosmic and stuff like that.
Is he the big purple guy?
He is the big purple.
He showed up in Thor.
He's like a cosmic entity, you know.
Right. Like Unicron.
Sort of, yeah, kind of like Unicron. There's a lot of comparisons drawn between the two. They both eat worlds.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's really interesting if you didn't grow up reading these characters and then you see them do awful evil things and turn into like whatever
childhood heroes,
like the Hulk will, and they're like they're not like mindless zombies. They still have sentience, and they're like everybody's like, oh god, this is an awful thing we're doing, but I'm still gonna eat that person,
right?
Because there's unending hunger of mine. But then like Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk, who will then is stronger than everybody else, and who will then eat like a larger portion than everybody else. But then he'll turn back into Bruce Banner. And then his stomach will burst open because of the food he ate and stuff like that. So it's pretty super gross.
Yeah.
But I never really got into it because that wasn't really what I like about reading comic books.
Right.
All that sort of stuff. But
what do you like reading about comic books? What do you like about reading comic books?
What do you like about reading comic books?
What do you read book?
Again, I suppose it's just like a sense of escapism.
Yeah.
People doing like the right thing, fighting the good fight.
So you don't want to escape into a world of zombie cannibals?
Zombie, torturous cannibal stuff like that, yeah. I guess so. It's basically a power trip, I suppose, is seeing all these superpowered dudes punching each other and stuff like that. It's very stereotypical. Why do you like reading comic books now, Russell? What drew you to them?
It's fun. It's, I don't know. It's very fantastical.
It is.
And I like the art that accompanies the story.
Don't get caught if you ever have to start buying comic books.
Oh God, no.
Online of it's like $1.99 to download this. Always read the sample, because quite often the cover art is not the same as inside the book.
Oh, okay.
So that's something you got to watch out for as a fresh young comic virgin.
Right. No, I think I'm always going to be on the free/subscription thing I've got going. It seems like a lot better value.
Yes, monetarily wise, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, if you plan on reading a lot of comic books, I suppose it is.
Yeah.
Which I hope you do, because now we can have conversations about comic books.
Yeah, we can.
But you are absolutely going to have to read the Civil War's comic book storyline before we go watch Civil War the movie.
Oh, so then after the movie, when you say, that didn't happen in the comics, it should have blah, 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 blah.
You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Allan.
It's total BS.
Yeah.
But that's obviously like a big event, so I'd be very surprised if that wasn't in the app.
Yeah, no, it is. As in, like, order.
Yes. Which is, because it spans over, like, 20 comic books.
Yeah.
Which is super annoying when I was trying to read it.
From the outside, it looks like staggeringly difficult to keep track of you're meant to be reading.
It's staggeringly difficult, like, jumping in and starting to read comic books, because there's so much history there. It's ridiculous. Okay, now I think we should move on to Forced Review.
Forced Review.
Forced Review is our one segment that we have in which one of us week about forces the other one to review something that they haven't seen yet.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that, I nailed it. I finally got it down. Now I just got to remember what I said, memorize it, and say it every week.
It's not our one segment. We have that other segment where we just talk about stuff for like half an hour.
It's true. Yes, that doesn't
really have a name.
That's just Popculture Pontification. Yeah. That's what it is.
This is Popculture Pontification as well, isn't it?
Yes. There's a very odd Venn diagram we've got going on here. Okay, no. Now, you tell me what happened last week. The torturous thing you did to me.
Oh, last week I asked you to review the computer video game Dota 2 from Valve Software.
Yes. For those of us uninitiated, what does Dota stand for?
It stands for Defense of the Ancients, which was the name of a mod for Warcraft 3.
Correct.
And which has spawned a genre of imitators, including the wildly popular League of Legends.
Does it annoy you that LoL is more popular than Dota?
No, not really. Except that, well, not that I've been playing lately, but when I ask people to play Dota, they're like, oh no, I play LoL. I'm like, you could play Dota with me. No, you should play LoL. I'm like, but I have to spend a load of money. But then I have to. Let's not get into that.
Well, except that's exactly what we're going to get into, because I am reviewing it, and that is one of my points I'm going to make about it. Okay, do you know when Dota 2 was released?
It's hard to say because it was in beta for a couple of years, but its beta was so polished that it was like it was released. So I think it was actually released at the start of last year.
Oh, really?
Start of 2014, I think. But it had been like in a very playable state for a few years before that.
Okay. And how long have you been playing variations of Dota?
I haven't played it much in the last 6 months, but before that I played it for probably a year and a half, for a couple of years. It's very time-consuming.
So you dropped it and then you drop-kicked it into my face.
Yeah, I handballed it to you.
So far more violently than that.
Did you fumble it, or did you
I don't know.
it?
Well, let's start with a brief description of what the game is, for those of us who aren't aware, which is probably nobody.
Well, you tell me.
Dota 2 is exactly like LoL. Or LoL is exactly like Dota 2. It is a multiplayer game in which you play a hero character and you attempt to, with the assistance of 4 other people and various minions that spawn, move across the map, destroy other heroes, destroy their towers, which are defense towers on their way to the base, then destroy their minion spawning locations, which allows you to spawn stronger minions, which allows you to destroy their heart, their whatever the name is, I've forgotten.
Their base.
The main crystal in their base, which powers their base or whatever, which destroys them and their base, and you win.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive. And it is painfully simplistic and annoyingly complicated.
I'm not sure where you got the simplistic part from.
Well, it's just run over there, click on stuff.
Well, yeah.
But then it very quickly goes from that to you were at the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Yeah. That's like saying, oh yeah, Street Fighter's a super simple game. You just like walk up and punch them.
It's pretty much what it is. And you can enjoy Street Fighter by walking up to somebody else and then mashing buttons and punching them to death.
Until you come up against somebody who
knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Encounters all of your moves.
So I sat down with hatred in my heart
Yeah.
of this game because I do not like MOBAs. And I sat down to play this game and I went through the tutorial because that seemed like it was a thing that I should do. And the first section was like, so this is how to look at a map.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I was like, so all of that I'd learnt from watching my ex-housemates play LOL and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of skills crossover between the two.
Yeah.
And then it went from, hey, this is a map, and this is how you get around the map, and click on stuff, to look at all these 5 million items you need to decide which ones you need to buy, and all that sort of stuff. The learning curve on this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was never going to be able to play in even like a ranked match in like a fucking week and win without being booted, for feeding and stuff like that. A lot of it is, the way you should play it is very counterintuitive to what feels like you should do.
You mean like denying your own
Denying
troops?
denying my own troops and stuff like that. So you gave me some tips, some pointers after I played through the tutorial. Which turned out to just be a guide, which you sent to me, which is very informative.
Welcome to Dota, you suck.
Also,
that's the name of the guide.
Yes, true, yes. Also, the guide was like 30,000 words long. It was so huge. It was annoying. I got through like half of it.
That's probably good enough for your first game.
But I read it, and a lot of it, like I said, is very counterintuitive. Because if you just let your minions go and attack each other, it's not going to sway one way or the other. They'll basically just destroy each other, and that'll be the end of it. Apparently, eventually, it'll swing one way or the other. Yeah. Just if you leave them alone. But
it's all based on like random numbers of damage. So eventually
they shift one way towards one tower, one way towards the other.
Yeah.
But my instincts were, when I played it, is that I should kill all those other minions. So my minions go forward, and then I get further and I destroy their towers and stuff like that. That is apparently the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. Which is to stay as close to your tower as possible, without having your tower take damage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's so counterintuitive. A lot of it was pretty easy. Like, if you get a chance, hit one of the enemies.
Yeah.
And then, but don't go and try and kill him, because then you might die.
Yeah.
Just damage him continuously and make him eventually have to like use up all his potions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There is one thing that I liked in Dota 2 that I don't think exists in LoL, which is the ability to buy stuff while you're out in the field and then have it ferried to you.
Yeah, you get a courier.
By a little flying donkey. Yeah. Which I don't think exists in LoL. I think you have to go back to base
LoL,
to buy
you
stuff.
go back. You also can't teleport around the map with teleport scrolls in LoL. You can return to base, but then you have to walk
Which took me
back
so
out.
long to figure out, by the way, the teleport scrolls.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how are all these bots getting on the other side of the map so quickly? Do they just all have such greater movement speed than me? And I realized that in one of my little things where I was like, you should buy this.
Yeah.
It wasn't an item. It was a little teleport scroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, the learning curve was enormous. So I went through the tutorial. I played a bot match as a fire throwy range chick whose name I forget again. Lena, yeah. And that was fun.
On Lena Inverse from Slayers.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is.
Oh, it's an anime.
Fighting game? Anime? Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares? She was like a ranged fire chick, and she like threw fireballs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is entertaining enough. And I won like the bot match, surprisingly.
Did you kill any bots?
I did. I killed one or two.
Nice work. Did you use her ultimate?
Yes.
Was it satisfying?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's like the big lightning bolt that does 1 million damage.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, I think I narrowly killed or at least heavily damaged dudes using that. But we won, and I'm pretty sure it's a forced. Like, you're gonna win regardless of what you do in the tutorial.
I don't know, maybe. I haven't played the tutorial, because it wasn't in the game when I started.
Okay. I am so confident that you could sit down, not do anything, and your team would still win 4-5, just because they want people to win their first match.
Probably, yeah.
And then I was like, not confident enough to go from that to playing real people. So I just played like a normal bot match, and I picked like moderate bots.
Yeah.
And I felt so fucking useless. I picked a different character because I was like, oh, maybe I like a melee character.
Yeah.
So I picked like this Spartan dude that can turn into a dragon.
Yeah.
Because he killed me a bunch when I was playing the previous game. So I was like, that'll do. That was the worst decision I've ever made. That guy was so terrible. Because I just kept dying.
Yeah.
And I had like spell I could turn into a dragon, but that didn't make me any tougher. It just made me do different types of damage. I was like in a scrap and I was getting ganged up on. I was like, I'll turn into a dragon.
Yeah.
Still died, did nothing. And his mana pool was ridiculously low.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many items. So many items. I was like, it had like recommendations of what to buy and stuff like that. Like early game and late game and essentials and stuff like that. So I was like, alright. So I just followed that. But it's just like the list, and there's pages and pages of items. Jesus, they got a lot of items in this game.
Yeah.
Like, how many different ways can you increase your mana that you need so many items?
Many different ways. And they build into each other in complicated ways.
Far more than I was able to get in the couple of hours I spent playing this game. But let's focus on the good things instead of the negatives, which is what I've been mostly complaining about this entire time.
Yeah.
It's very visually attractive.
Oh, that's good.
It's very pretty. I think it looks nicer than LOL does.
Well, most things look nicer than LOL.
Well, your hatred of LOL and understand. I saw a lot of LOL play.
Yeah.
And I saw this. And it's very nice.
Dota is actually on their Source 2 engine now. Mm-hmm. I think it might be the only game on that. But it is like a brand new engine, so... It should have nice lighting and everything.
All that sort of stuff is very nice. The bots were very nice.
They're nice.
They're like, attacking, pushing mid. I was like, I'll go push mid with them.
Yeah. No, the bots are very polite. Don't get used to that if you play a real game.
What else can I say good about it? There is a huge variety of characters.
Yes.
There's so many heroes.
Yeah.
That was both good and bad, because it was like, look at all these heroes. Oh, God, look at all these heroes. Which one do I pick?
Yeah, I think there's about 100.
So many. Way more than there are in LoL, to my knowledge.
I'm not sure. LoL has an awful lot.
Maybe it's been like 4 or 5 years since I saw a LoL game.
The problem I have with LoL is that in Dota you have access to all the characters.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was good.
And it doesn't cost you any money. Whereas LoL, you get, I believe it's 10 characters.
Which are randomized like every week.
Every week you get a different selection of 10 characters. But if you want to have them available permanently, you have to buy them either with in-game currency.
Which takes you forever to mill, I think.
I imagine so. I haven't actually tried it. Or real money. And it's just so much nicer to have everything available. Like, levels the playing field.
I suppose so, yeah.
I can't be like, oh, well, he just won because he had access to whatever. Some super character. Yeah. And I'm stuck with these shitty characters. Blah, blah, blah. When you have access to everything, then it's just about...
It seems like all their money comes from skins.
Oh, yeah, and they're making a shitload of money. That's how Dota makes their money as well, is buying hats and, well...
I saw the skins. Like,
hats
when I
is
selected
like
the character,
general
it was
term.
all, like, all the different outfits that they had for that character and stuff like that. And it was, like, rare, ultra rare, mythic rare.
Yeah.
So it can't be that rare. You offering for sale.
Selling it for like $5.
$5.
Yeah.
What other good things do I have to say about it? I'm at a stretch here because...
It was pretty.
It was very visually pretty. All the characters were available from the get-go, which was good and bad because it was very intimidating. I didn't know anything about the characters.
Did it suggest characters?
It did not.
Oh, okay.
Not in the bot matches that I played anyway.
Well, you picked well. There are much more difficult characters you could have picked.
Really?
Like, I played 1,000 hours, and there are certain characters I don't touch. They're just too hard.
Okay. So, yeah. Are they, like, super awesome characters, though?
They can be, yeah. There's a character called Meepo, who is famously difficult to play, but powerful, because one of his abilities is it creates a clone of him. Oh,
is this like a flying lizard thing?
No, it's a little goblin-looking guy.
There's like a flying lizard thing that I nearly destroyed. Looked like a Pokemon. But then it just turned into like 4 different things, 4 copies of itself. just messed me up.
Ah,
I have no idea
who
what
you mean.
I have no idea who it was. But I got very upset because I'd almost killed him. Then I was like, "What? Now there's 4 of me!" And then I died.
Yeah, but the obvious difficulty in playing Meepo is rather than trying to
control one.
Precisely control one of these characters, you have to control up to, I think you can get to 5 Meepos. And you end up with them in control groups, so you're playing like StarCraft with your fingers flashing all over the keyboard to select different groups and activate abilities.
I suppose if I really knuckled down and spent like a fortnight playing this game, I probably would have felt more comfortable with the command structure and all that sort of stuff. But in the week that I had, and the fact that I procrastinated and didn't want to do it...
You were doing it last night.
I was doing it last night. Really didn't help. The camera controls are so weird. Like, I'm so used to being centered on a character. The fact that I can just, like, send her off her way and then, like, hit the bottom corner of the screen. And then I'm on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
It's very finicky, the camera controls.
Have you played many strategy games with that sort of viewpoint?
I guess so. Yeah, I played a lot of StarCraft back in the day and stuff like that. Not a lot of Warcraft, though.
Yeah. Well, same sort of.
Same, but different.
Yeah.
I guess so. I kept trying to scroll out so I could see more of the map. It doesn't do anything.
No. You can only go to a certain distance. Which is quite annoying because some characters' abilities have a range longer than the screen.
Oh, really?
So, in order to use them to their full extent, you have to, like, move your character off the screen. And then you can get ambushed and killed.
Quite frequently lost my character in, like, the melee of whatever was happening. Especially when it was, like, a big ball of us going in. It was like... I didn't know where I was in relation to the bad guy I was trying to use one of my abilities on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So visually, very confusing. A lot of different stuff if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Like, I don't really feel like I have a right to say much about it, because I feel like it's the sort of thing where you gotta put in thousands of hours in order to really enjoy yourself.
Well, yeah, it's not a small time investment.
No,
but
it's not.
Given the restrictions of the forced review setup.
I have played 2 games of LoL in my entire life on somebody else's account, and I got reported for feeding both times.
Did the bots report you for feeding?
No, I think that was, like, I took over for a friend while he was in the bathroom at one point. I think I've told this story.
Oh, I mean in Dota, did the...
Oh, the bots did not. No.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely did, though. Especially when I was playing that melee character. I absolutely fed.
That's right. Bots don't judge.
That's true. But I got reported for feeding when I took over from my housemate for like the 3 minutes he was in the bathroom.
Nice.
And stuff like that. The only other MOBA I've ever played was Battleborn.
Yeah.
Which is like first person. So found that vastly more entertaining than this. This is more up my alley. I can see why people get addicted to it though. I can see like the appeal, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It's like an onion.
Yes.
It's got layers.
Yeah, okay, no, I got it. Yeah, it's just terrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody who's got even remotely an addictive personality, though.
No.
Because I can see...
Or anyone who doesn't have a lot of free time.
Yes. I can see people just really getting sucked down into this hole. But yeah, you know, I don't really have much to say, I suppose, because of my limited experience in playing it. If you're going to ask me, am I going to continue playing it on my own time? The answer is absolutely not.
You say that now.
You think it'll eat away at me?
Yeah, it'll be lurking there in your Steam menu. You'll go to click on Fallout and you won't quite get that far down. You go, Dota.
I could have ganked that guy. I could have ganked him.
Yeah.
I suppose again it would have been different if I was playing with people as well. A lot of my Force reviews seem to fall apart because of this. That if I played with people whom I knew and like I could have like talked me through it, I probably would have had a better time than trying to figure it out by myself. But again, that would have implied a lot of hours of them assisting me and stuff like that, and I can't really see anybody bothering to put that kind of effort in. Especially not for just a Force review. So,
out of...
now that I've blathered on for 20 minutes about this game,
out of Dota 10, what score would you give it?
Out of Dota 10?
Yeah.
Jeez. 50 years from now when Dota 10's out. What would I give it? I don't really feel like I should.
No?
No, because I don't think I got the full experience. I don't think...
Fair. You didn't get sweat at by Russians.
I didn't get sworn at all. I mean, Bok did call me a cunt, but I didn't feel like I earned that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I can honestly give this a score.
Okay. So that's 10 out of 10 from Allan.
So if we don't give a score, it's just automatically 10 out of 10?
Yeah, I think so.
That means that Beyond Good and Evil got a 10 out of 10 because you refused to review it.
Yeah, it seems fair enough.
Now, the important thing. What am I going to give you to review?
What indeed?
What indeed? I'm going to give you a movie because I feel like if I ever give you anything more complicated than that, it's just not going to happen.
That's the personal attack.
Because you made me play fucking Dota too, that's why. I'm going to give you to review a movie that was very formative for me when I was growing up.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Yes.
Right.
I never actually watched any Debbie Does Dallas movies.
No.
I assume that would be, at least interesting to watch from a historical point of view.
It's just a reasonably inoffensive porno movie title that everybody knows that you can reference.
It's true. Debbie Gone Wild. In Dallas. 5. No. Now, when I grew up, one of the most famous movies that were formative movies for like teens was a movie called The Breakfast Club.
Right.
Which you've never seen.
No.
I don't care about that.
Okay. That's not what I'm reviewing?
It's not what you're reviewing.
Okay.
When I was growing up, the one that I watched instead of The Breakfast Club was a movie called Empire Records.
Okay.
Which is not as well known by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But it does have it's a lot more approachable because I think that you'll know more of the actors in it and all that sort of stuff. So Empire Records is what you're doing. I got it right here, actually.
Oh, that's easy.
Yes, I do have a copy of it, which has never been opened.
Did you buy it just for this?
No. I think I just had a digital copy of it and I just wanted a normal copy of it. Yeah. I am trying to see. It's got like Liv Tyler, Renee Zellweger, all that sort of stuff. Various other actors whose names I don't know.
Alright, cool. Let me see the cover.
You can have a look at it. There you go. You'll see the front dudes on the front. Recognize any of them?
Recognize Liv Tyler.
Renee Zellweger's there, isn't she?
Yes.
They're all very
not
young.
as I've seen her before.
They're all very young people.
Yeah. Well, that seems surprisingly merciful.
Only because I feel it's a bit of a tragedy that you've not seen any of these sorts of movies. Like Empire Records, Breakfast Club, anything that involves teens getting into mischief and learning something about themselves while they're doing so.
I saw the Sandlot kids.
They're not teens though, are they? They're like 10 years old.
Yeah, maybe. So, alright, cool. Excellent.
Empire Records. Easy one for you.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
Done and dusted.
So, if you have anything that you think you might like us to review as a team, perhaps, then you can email us at popculturepon.gmail.com, not .gmail.com.
Yeah,
at
you went too early.
I went way too early. If you enjoyed the show, you can go to our website at popculturepon.weebly.com, which is what I tried to say when I gave you the email address.
Yeah. On social media, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/popculturepon, and Twitter, we are at popculturepon.
Yes. I look forward to the blog post that you're going to put together for this episode.
In what sense?
I think we just like blathered on a lot about.
There was a lot of blather.
There was a fair bit of blather this episode. It's New Year's,
It is.
Didn't really do much this week. So it's been like Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
Give us a break. And so, if you enjoyed this, feel free to come back next week for another episode of Popculture Pontification. Yep.
Yeah.
Good enough. There's at least a B+ of a podcast right there.
Yeah.
B. Definitely not a C though. Like, okay, maybe a C.
Maybe a C. It's definitely probably a pass.
It's a passing grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.